Dr. Chang. Halo. Dr. Cheng, you're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Jonathan. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Cheng from Faculty of Business and Communications. Um, I think let's wait for another 5 minutes. Maybe others participants just come back from their lunch and starting to settle down. Maybe we can start at 2:05. Okay, see you in 5 minutes. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Since it is already 2:05, I think we shall start the sessions now. Yeah, so first and foremost, thank you very much for your time, for joining the training this afternoon. Okay, let me share the screen first, yeah. So if you have any question during the sessions, right, please feel free to jot down your comments in the chat box. I will try my best to answer your question at the end of the sessions. For honor. Okay, for those who just joined in, let me to introduce myself first. Okay, I am Dr. Chen Kaiwa. I am a senior lecturer at Faculty of Business and Communications in the International University. And the title of our training this afternoon is Literature Review, Proofreading, and Final Revision for Manuscript Writing. So this is my brief education background and my contact numbers as well as my email address. Okay, currently my research area focus on consumer behavior, sustainable consumption, environmental education, as well as recycling and solid waste management. So for our training today, I will focus more on social science perspective because my background is social science. Okay, so before we discuss about the submissions of manuscript, I think first and foremost, it is very important for us to understand what is a research. Okay, let's look at the pink box here. Research is about acquiring knowledge and developing understanding, collecting facts and interpreting them to build up a picture of the world around us. Okay, so this is the definitions of research given by this author in 2011. I would like to cut it short and use a more simple sentence to explain to you what is research. Basically, research is all about a problem solving process. Whenever you want to start with a new research, the very first thing comes to your mind is, what is the problems that you are going to solve? Okay, because research is all about problem solving. Let's say we can identify the problems occurs in daily life based on your experience, okay, based on your observation, or based on the literature that you have read online. So these are a few methods which can help us to identify the problems occurs in the society. So you intended to solve certain problems, right? So this is the main purpose why you intended to start a new research. Okay, it is all about problem solving. If you if you are preparing a manuscript, but you fail to identify the root of problems based on your research topic, basically the manuscript has a high tendency to be rejected by the editor. Okay, so you need to consider what is the root of problems that you are going to solve. So this is the main purpose why we conduct a new research. Okay, next. Okay, what is a manuscript? Some people call it as a manuscript and some people call it as an article. Okay, so this is one of the examples to show you what is a manuscript. Okay, so now let's look at the definition. What is a manuscript? It is a written word resulting from original research, especially one submitted for higher degree in a university. Okay, the original research here refers to something that hasn't been publish somewhere else. You are the one who collect the data. You are the one who prepare the manuscript, okay? And you are using new knowledge to conduct a new research in order to produce a new outcomes to the policymaker, to the society, or to the general public. This is what we call as original research. Okay, so in research methodology perspective, originality is very important because you are not supposed to repeat whatever that has been done by others researcher in their previous research activity. Okay, because original research is the key whenever you want to conduct a research or wherever you want to submit a manuscript for publication purposes. Okay, because knowledge. What is new in your research? What is new in your manuscript? Okay, so I will tell you more. Okay, what does it mean by new? Okay, in the following slide. Okay, so basically, this is what you should know as for a manuscript. Okay, next. Okay, before we proceed to literature review and final revision for manuscript writing, right? Maybe we can have a quick recap. What is the reason we keep publishing articles every year? What is the reason? Okay, maybe you can look at the list here. Okay, maybe this list can wake you up, okay, or to trigger you to actively publish more in the following weeks. Okay, the first reason is if you are a postgraduate student, okay, some institutions will impose certain graduations requirement when before a candidate attend his or her convocation. Okay, graduations requirement. And then second reason is maybe because your supervisor asks you to do so, so you have to follow. Okay, and then number three, contribution to your field of research. Okay, so I think this is the major outputs of every kinds of research. Okay, you are trying to contribute something to the people around you. That is why you conduct a research. This is why you prepare a manuscript, because you are so eager to share your research outputs to the third party. Okay, so contribution to the body of knowledge is also included under this point. Okay, and then next point, you keep publishing papers every year. Maybe you would like to get a better career opportunities. Maybe it will help you in your career promotion or tenure consideration. Okay, nowadays, publication becomes a very crucial criteria wherever you want to get a new job in education line, or when you want to get your career promotion from senior lecturer to associate professor and to professor position. Okay, this is in line with the MQA requirement. So as an as an educator or a researcher, you need to try your best to publish a number of paper every year. Yeah. Next, maybe you prepare the manuscript to present it in a conference. Okay, so that's why you prepare a manuscript, and you can even use your published record as your networking in a conference. So this is why you publish paper. Okay, next, invitation and presentation opportunities at prestigious universities. So maybe you have been invited as a guest lecturer, guest speaker, or adjunct professor at a university. So this is why you need to prepare your publications record for this purpose. self-esteem and reputation, it looks good on your CV, definitely. Okay, because you are going to review your KPI every year, right? So for sure, you need to prepare some publication record to show it to your reporting manager. Yeah. And then to attract research funding and grant. Okay, especially I think this is very important, especially for those who plan to apply for internal grant, FRGS, LRGS, or TRGS. Okay, because the reviewer will look at your research background before they make their decision whether they approve or disapprove your application. A research grant. Okay. Okay, achieve KPI, academics and competence, of course. Okay. Publication is one of our KPI. Okay. And this is in line with the MQA requirement as well. Okay. And then to build your reputation as an academician. Okay. So as an academician, it is important, okay, for us to publish every year. Okay. So no matter how, whether you like it or not, you need to try your best to publish a certain numbers of paper every year. Okay. And then the next reasons will be to improve industry and social well-being. Okay. So this is why we publish paper, because we would like to share our research outputs with the people around us. For example, your stakeholder, okay, like university policymaker, company, NGO, consumer, society members, so on and so forth. Okay, to share a useful new method. Okay, maybe you found a new method to analyze your results, or maybe you have a research gaps in terms of the methodological perspective. So you would like to share it with others people by using the publications method. Okay, of course, to share knowledge. Okay, to contribute to the research impact of your department. Okay, I think this is for the QS ranking purpose. Okay, publication has a very high weightage in the university QS ranking. So this is why everybody should try their best to contribute to the university by publication. And maybe you publish your paper because you would like to respond to another research question or recommendation for future research that has been mentioned by previous articles. Okay, so this is why you publish a new paper in order to answer the doubts arise in the previous articles paper. Okay, so these are all the reasons why we should try our best to publish paper every year. Okay, so this is the general structures of a manuscript, but of course, okay, different publisher has different format. Okay, so when you want to prepare a new manuscript, please check the guidelines to authors, okay, from the publisher official website. Okay, normally in an ordinary manuscript, right? Of course, you need to have the title, abstract, keyword, introduction, literature review, methodology, result and discussions, conclusion, limitation, and recommendation for future research. So these are the common heading that you should include in a manuscript. Okay, and of course, okay, different manuscript has different format to prepare the caption for figures or diagram, as well as the title for a table in the manuscript. Okay, and normally we will use APA format to prepare the reference Okay, but once again, please go back to the publisher official website, okay, to get the document, okay, to guide you how to prepare a manuscript according to the publisher expectation, okay, or requirement. Okay, so you can get the manuscript template from their official website as well. Okay, so this is the general structures of a manuscript. Okay, so whenever you want to publish a paper, right, you need to consider these 5 things in your mind. Okay, number 1, ethical issue. Have you applied the ethics whenever you started to collect the data for that project? Okay, please remember to apply the ethics approval, okay, from your university, okay, before you start collecting the data for the project. Okay, style and languages, okay, make sure you fulfill, okay, or comply with the requirement, okay, given by the publisher. Okay, what type of format they want. Okay, so please check. Okay, and please proofread your manuscript, because most of us, we are not speaking English as our first language or our mother tongue. So for sure, our language is not as good as those English native person. Okay, so no problem. You can always proofread your manuscript. Okay, no problem. And then component of paper. Okay, so please check the guidelines to authors. Okay, what are the requirements? Okay, and how to prepare the manuscript in order to fulfill the expectation of the publisher. Okay, and then article submission and journal selections. Okay, when we plan to submit a manuscript, right? We need to check the scope of the paper. Okay, whether our manuscript can fit to the scope of the paper on I mean publisher or not. Okay, and another thing is we need to consider about the number of issues or number of volume published by the publisher as well. Okay, because time is precious, right? And we need to fulfill the KPI. So we need I would suggest you to find a publisher which has a frequent publications in a year. So I believe you will get a more faster response by the editor in this way. Okay, so make sure you choose a suitable publisher, okay, to publish your manuscript. And finally, okay, you need to understand the publisher process, peer review process. Okay, how long will it take to review your paper? Okay, how long will it take to publish your paper online? Okay, so these are the things that you should consider when you submit your manuscript to a publisher. Yeah. Okay, so we are now living in a digital era, right? So we have a lot of AI tools, okay, to help us to prepare the manuscript in a faster way. Okay, for example, okay, if you think that you need to proofread your manuscript, you can use Grammarly or Qbot, okay, to proofread your manuscript. But once again, these are the outputs generated by AI. So it is not 100% accurate as well. Okay, so after you get the outputs from this software, right? So you still need to go through the outputs one more time, okay, as your final revision. Okay, but in general, we can consider Grammarly and Qbot to proofread the sentence structures so that we can minimize the grammatical error in the manuscript. Okay, And we can use Mendeley, okay, to prepare the reference list in a faster way. But of course, Mendeley is not the only tools that we can use to prepare the reference list. Some people prefers to the plug-in tools in Microsoft Word. Some people prefer to EndNote. Some people prefer to do it manually. Some people prefer to prepare the reference list from Google Scholar or any other external website. So it is up to you. Okay. And of course, ChatGPT. Okay. I I I I allow my students to use ChatGPT as well, but I will remind them ChatGPT is only for you to generate some common concept. If you do not understand certain concepts, you can ask ChatGPT to explain further. Okay, but I always remind my students, do not copy the answer directly from ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is not a perfect AI. Some outputs generated by ChatGPT are actually wrong. Okay, and we are not supposed to rely on ChatGPT to prepare the citation for us, because I did I I I have did I have did an experiment, okay, before. Okay, I realized that the citation given by ChatGPT is not really reliable, and sometimes the references given by the ChatGPT is not existing. Yeah, so this is why I suggest my student do not direct copy paste the answer from ChatGPT. Okay, it can only help you to understand, but to understand certain concept. Okay, or you can use ChatGPT to search information. That's it. Okay, but please do not use ChatGPT to do your homework. Okay, because Turnitin, okay, is a software that we use, okay, to check the similarities, okay, of the students' paperwork. Okay, and Turnitin can also detect the AI generation in a paper. Okay, so uh so I tell my I always remind my students, do not think that you can use ChatGPT to do whatever you want, because it can be detected by Turnitin nowadays. And I would like to introduce one document to you as well, okay, which is this one. Okay, you can Google search, okay, academic phrase bank. Okay, sometimes if you run out of idea to construct a sentence, right, or you do not know how to do the comparison, okay, or you want to compare the different results from different manuscript, but you do not know how to start that paragraph. So you can open this website to help you. Okay, this website can give you a lot of idea when you want to give your criticisms towards certain circumstances, or you want to compare and contrast the previous research finding, or you want to give examples in your paper, okay? Or you want to search some ideas on signaling transition, okay? So you can use this website to help you to generate some ideas, how to construct the sentence, okay? Phrase bank, okay? I think this is very useful, okay? So I think you can use it, okay, for your manuscript purposes as well. Okay, and when we prepare the manuscript, right, make sure you get the information from reliable journal database. So these are the examples of online journals database, and I think this is the reliable source lah. Okay. I do suggest my students to get the articles from Google, Yahoo, Wikipedia, Google Scholar, or whatever, because it is very hard for us to determine the quality of the paper if you do not download the articles from these sources. Okay, maybe you are an experienced writer, so you can easily detect the quality of the paper. But as a student, I strongly suggest them to get the source of informations only from this 10 journal database for their thesis purposes or for their manuscript purposes, rather than Google Scholar. Okay, but sometimes you face the difficulties to download the articles from this database as well. So you can always go back to your supervisor and ask your supervisors to help you. Okay. So these are the reliable online journal database. Okay, so now before we talk about literature review, I think it is very important for us to identify a right topic for the thesis or for the manuscript. Okay, so what does it mean, right topic? Okay, it means the researchable topics. Okay, but what is a researchable topics? So now let's look at the next slide. Okay, okay. You need to make sure that you choose a researchable topics. Okay, so the researchable topics means the scope of the topic shouldn't be too wide or too narrow. Okay, and I will also suggest my students to choose a topic which has sufficient reference materials to help you to produce the thesis or manuscript. If you choose a topic which is too new and there is no any materials to help you in order to prepare the complete thesis or manuscript, I would suggest them to change a new topic, because I think we should be more realistic and practical, because we need to fulfill the guidelines for graduations as well. So I don't see the need for them to comes up with a too difficult topic. As long as we fulfill the minimum requirement by the MQA, I think that is good enough. Okay, and what do you mean by the scope of topic too wide or too narrow? So for this aspect, right, you may discuss with your supervisor. Okay, I believe your supervisor has their experts, okay, to help you to cross-check the benchmark of your materials. Okay, so please go back to your supervisor, okay, for the scope of topic. Okay, but of course, when you want to brainstorm a new topics for your thesis or manuscript, right, make sure you choose something that you feel interested to do it. Okay, because postgraduate journey is a long journey. It is not an easy journey. So if you choose certain topics that you are not interested at all, I think it is very hard for you to finish the entire postgraduate journey. Okay, so please make sure, okay, you choose a topics which you has a high interest in it. Okay, I think that is much more important. Okay, so after you select an interesting topic, okay, you may list down the potential keyword and start looking for the materials from the reliable journal database. Okay, and then I will suggest my students to download a numbers of articles, okay, according to the keyword that we have agreed, okay, and then prepare a literature review matrix. Okay, literature review metrics is very important because I think the document may help you to get an overview of the topics, because we need to understand the general trend of our chosen topic. Okay, this is number one, the general trend. Okay, what has been discussed so far? Okay, this is number one. Number two, what is the roots of problems behind the title? Okay, so we can get this information from the literature metrics as well. Okay, and then number three, okay, in social science research, theory and model is the fundamental things, okay, that we need to find out before we proceed further. Okay, if you are a social science researchers, right, okay, and you are unable to identify a suitable or relevant theory or models to support your framework, sorry to say, your entire project is just a trash. Okay, because you are unable to use relevant theory or model to support your framework. Okay, but I know it is different story in engineering and in pure science uh, studies. But for social science studies, right, theory and model is the fundamental things. Okay, before you constructing your conceptual framework. Yeah, so please bear in mind. Next. Okay, so I think that there is expectations here to tell you what do you mean by big topic or narrow topic. Okay, let's look at the point here. Okay, this is the biggest pitfall in the research process. If choose a big topic, okay, trouble selecting what to include from a huge selections of material available. Okay, okay, I think I can give you one example, okay, according to this explanation. For example, uh, whenever we plan for the research design, we need to consider the time frame of your studies, okay, the time frame of your research grant, okay. I will take one example from master studies, okay. If you are a MBA LS students, okay? For MBA LS students, okay, we know the schedule given by the faculty is you need to use 8 weeks to prepare the first three chapter. And then you will enter a semester break, right? And then after you enroll into a new semester, you will be given another 8 weeks to prepare your chapter 4, 5, and viva voce. So you need to consider, okay, what you can do within the 8 weeks in MBA project part A and another 8 weeks in MBA project part B. Okay, so uh, we need to be more practical. If you are a research student, that is different story because you have a bigger flexibility to adjust your schedule. But if you are a MBA LS students, okay, so please make sure you design something uh which can be done within the allocated time. Okay. So normally I do not suggest my MBA LS students to conduct a research to cover up the entire Malaysia. I know that is impossible to conduct a research in 8 weeks, and it needs to cover up the entire Malaysia. So I don't think it is practical for MBA LS students. So normally I will suggest my MBA LS students to select one point, okay, of the country, okay, and then you conduct an in-depth research. I think that is much more meaningful rather than you conduct a research to cover out the entire Malaysia, but in fact you are only given 8 weeks to do the MBA project write-up. Okay, so be realistic, okay, when you consider the scope of research. okay? But you need to make sure the topics is not too narrow as well, okay? For example, you need to consider the contribution to body of knowledge, okay? This is one thing. And another thing is, if you choose a narrow topics, right, is it enough for you to explain your research gap? Is it enough for us to explain the significance of research? Is it enough for you to explain the research implication? So you need to have a long-term planning, okay, whenever you start a new research or writing a manuscript. Okay, so this is the explanations regarding to the scope of research. Okay. Okay, so as a postgraduate students, right, they need to read a lot, of course. Okay, postgraduate study, it has no shortcut. Okay, you need to read a lot. Okay, read a lot the literature, okay, to find out more about the common trend. Okay, the problems, okay, behind the topics. Okay, and then the common theory and model, okay, has been applied in the previous research activity, okay? And then what are the implications of research and what are the problem statements, okay? So in order to get these information, of course, you need to read a lot, okay? If you just read 5 articles or 10 articles, right? I don't think you manage to produce a good manuscript or a good quality of MBA project write up. Okay, so please read more. Okay, and please make sure, okay, there is something new, okay, in your manuscript or your project write up. Okay, you should not repeat whatever that has been done by the by the researcher, okay, in previous research work. Okay, if you found that there are some paper with a very similar research framework as your own research framework, okay, so in this case, right, okay, you please discuss with your supervisor and do some amendment, okay, to your own research framework, okay, because if you do not correct it now, I think it is quite difficult for you to publish your manuscript at the end of your postgraduate journey. Yeah. And same goes to research problems. I see the common mistake here is most of the students here are not able to identify comprehend research problems in their MBA project as well as their PhD thesis. Most of them prepare the research problem in a general way. I think that is not enough for a postgraduate students. Okay, so if you are a postgraduate students, okay, please make sure you are able to identify the problem statement as well as the research gaps based on all the variables in the research framework. Okay, if you are a social science postgraduate students, okay, please do it. Okay, because I see the postgraduate student here, they're only able to prepare the research gap and problem statement in general, but not in specific according to the variable in their research framework. So I think this is something that they should improve to produce a better quality of thesis as well as manuscript. Okay, so please bear in mind if you are a social science postgraduate students. Yeah. Okay, and then this is the summary, okay, to tell you what are the criteria for choosing a topics. Okay, number one, okay, you should have a high interest in the topic, okay, and you should make sure the topics is relevant to the current situation. Okay, so how do you know the level of the level of relevance of your topics? Please discuss with your supervisors. Yeah, and please make sure the manuscript or your thesis should be able to contribute to the body of knowledge. Okay. Yeah. And then for the second point, okay, this is regards to the research implication. Okay, so in the research implications, normally we will talk about how does the stakeholder able to enjoy the research output, okay, from your project. Okay, normally we will discuss uh the the benefit of stakeholders in terms of community, policymaker, uh, consumer, citizens, government, or any certain NGO which is related to your research topic. Okay. So when you prepare a new topics for your thesis or manuscript, right? These are the things that should appear in your mind. Okay. Durability. Okay, durability means the time frame. Okay, time frame, cost, budget. Okay, make sure you choose a topic which can be done within a speculated time. Okay, make sure you have the budget. You have a acceptable budget. Okay, to conduct a research. Okay, if you do not have any research grant to conduct a research, right? I don't see it is a problem as well, because nowadays we can conduct the data collections online, so you can save the respondent tokens in this way. Okay. But if you plans to present your research output in a conference, okay, so you need to consider the source of income, okay, for you to do so. Okay, next one, skill. Okay, do you have the skill to analyze certain research objectives? Okay, if you plan to use AMOS, do you know how to use AMOS? If you plan to use Smart PLS, do you know how to use Smart PLS? Okay, so these are the things that you should consider, okay, when you plan for your postgraduate journey or manuscript writing. Okay. But nowadays, it's very easy for us to learn a new skill because we have YouTube, right? So you just type your question in the YouTube, and I believe there are a lot video recording can show you how to conduct certain statistical analysis. Yeah. So I think it is not a problem. If you do not know how to use SPSS, you do not know how to handle the data set, you do not know how to use AMOS, you do not know how to use PLS, because YouTube, okay, please use the YouTube videos wisely, okay, to learn some relevant research skills to help you to prepare the thesis and your manuscript writing. I think that is not a big problem for us nowadays. Yeah. Number 3. Okay. The brief of research question. How broad or how narrow is your research question or research topics? Okay. So please make sure you choose a right topics. Make sure you choose an interesting topics. Make sure you choose something that you can finish it within your postgraduate studies period. Okay. According to KPT or MOHI requirement for I mean in an ideal situation, okay, for a master students, for a research master students, you are supposed to finish your studies within 3 years maximum. Okay, and if you are a research postgraduate student, you are supposed to finish your PhD studies within 5 years. This is the requirement given by MOHI, okay, Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia. Okay, so please bear it in mind. Okay, make sure you plan something that can be done within the allocated time. Okay, and then for academicians, um, I will suggest you to plan your time wisely because we need to complete the annual KPI, right? So I believe all of us are able to do it, hopefully. Okay. So make sure your research topic is also significant and relevant to the current trend. Okay. So I personally think that at this moment, um, do you think your paper can easily get published if you're still discussing COVID-19? I don't think so. Okay, so please consider all these elements when you prepare your manuscript or your thesis writing. Okay. Okay, what else? Okay, accessibility. Okay, make sure you choose a correct target group, okay, for your manuscript or your thesis writing. Okay, be relevant, be practical, and be realistic. Okay, if you plan to conduct a qualitative approach research, okay, and of course you will go for SGT, NGT, in-depth interview, conversation or whatever to collect the data, right? Make sure you are able to conduct the sessions for you to conduct the data analysis. Okay, for example, you plan to have an interview session, okay, with CEO in the whole country. Do you think you managed to make an appointment with CEO in the whole country? I don't think so. Okay, so please make sure you choose a right target group, okay, for you to collect the data, okay, as well as when it comes to the moment to write the manuscript. Okay, make sure you choose the right target group of respondent. Okay, because we just want to finish the postgraduate journeys. We just want to fulfill the KPI. So I think if you do not have enough time to do it, please make sure you plan the research design wisely. Okay, so this is in terms of the people matter. And in terms of the database, okay, if you plan to conduct a research by using secondary data, okay, you need to consider, are you able to access the company annual report? How are you going to collect or compile the company annual report, financial report, so on and so forth? Okay, so these are the things should be considered, okay, in terms of the accessibility of your research. Okay, and if you plan to use primary data, okay, to conduct the research, are you able to consult with a quality questionnaire which can cover up the entire concept of that particular variable? So in this point, right, I think you may discuss with your supervisor, okay, to ensure the quality of your questionnaire. Yeah, I believe your supervisor will help you. Okay. Number 5, okay, resources. If you choose a topics to prepare your manuscript or your thesis writing, okay, do you have sufficient amounts of literature for you to produce your product? Okay, and how are you going to get these resources to prepare your literature review, so on and so forth? Okay, so these are the things that you should consider, okay, to prepare your work. This is because Okay, let's look at the point here. A common difficulty these days is too much literature, not too little. So how are you going to filter, okay, the relevant literature in your work? Okay, so this is also very important. Okay, number one, okay, we need to consider the durations of the paper. Normally, I do not suggest my students to use the paper more than 5 years from 2023. Okay, so I think it should start, it should be starting from 2019, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 5 years. Okay, the recent 5 years publications. I think that is much more relevant rather than you use any paper that any papers from 10 years back, 15 years back, 20 years back. Yeah. But of course, if you are discussing the evolution of a history or of a theory, if you are discussing the history of a theory, of course, that is different story. Okay. What I was telling you is regarding to the application. Okay. Applications of the variable, okay, in previous research. Normally, we will go for the recent 5-year publication, okay, when we prepare the manuscript or literature review. Yeah. Next. Okay, so if you do not have any idea how to choose a right topic for your thesis writing or your manuscript writing, you can look at this diagram. Yeah? Okay, you can look at the SDG. Okay, we have 17 SDG, okay, from United Nations. Okay, so please check what are they. Okay, and I believe you will get some ideas how to choose an interesting topic for your manuscript writing or your thesis writing. Okay, I believe this topic, sorry, I believe this figure may help you. Yeah, SDG. And of course, if you are able to come up with any topics regarding to SDGs, right, it may help you to ensure that your research topic is a recent one. Yeah. Okay, so this is the checklist for you, okay, to have a look whether you have a good research topic or not. Okay, so this is just a summary for everyone. So let's go through the summary very quickly. Okay, number one, does the topic fit specifications and meet the standards set by the examining institution? Okay, so please make sure, okay, your write-up, okay, has the element to contribute to the body of knowledge. Okay, please make sure uh, you manage to prepare the problem statement and research gaps based on every single variable in your research framework, but not preparing problem statement and research gap in a general way. I don't think that is a good way as a postgraduate student. Yeah. Number two, make sure, okay, you are really interested in the topic that you have chosen for your thesis writing or manuscript writing. Number three, okay, this is regarding to the problem statements, okay, or issues that you have mentioned in your manuscript or thesis writing. Are they able to link with theory? Okay, as I mentioned to you just now, okay, if you are a social science researcher or social science postgraduate students, you must make sure that you have a suitable theory or model to support your framework. Okay, because if you do not have a relevant theory or model to support your framework, your research work is just nothing. Okay, if you are a research, oh sorry, if you are a social science researchers, okay, but I know you no need to do that if you are a pure science researcher or you comes from engineering background. Okay, and number four, do you have or can you develop within the project time frame? Okay, time frame, and the necessary research skill to undertake the topic. Okay, so please learn, okay, how to use a suitable software, okay, to analyze your research topic. Okay, and please make sure, okay, you frequently attend any research workshop, okay, in order to learn new knowledge. Okay, so and I think this is very important because it may help you to ensure that you are still relevant in this field. Okay, so you please bear in mind, okay, always attend research workshop to gain new knowledge, okay, to make sure you yourself is still relevant in this field. Okay, next, is the research topic achievable within the available time? Okay, so if you are postgraduate students, okay, so please make sure you fulfill the time frame given by the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia. Okay, number 6, regarding to the financial resources, do you have any research grant or do you have any sponsor to run a project? Okay, this is also important. Number 7, are you able to get or access the relevant data source, okay, to prepare your work? Okay, yeah, okay. So please make sure, okay, you get the resources from reliable online database, but not Google Scholar, Wikipedia, or whatever. Okay, this is number 7. Number 8, are you able to state your research question and objective clearly? Okay, and finally, will you propose research be able to provide fresh insight into this topic? Okay, so these are the things that we have mentioned at the beginning of the training today. So this is just a summary for everyone. Yeah. Okay, so now we will proceed to the next segment of our workshop today. Okay, it is regarding to research gaps. Okay, so once again, research gaps is very important. Okay, if you are a social science postgraduate students or social science researchers. Okay, so how to identify the research gaps? Okay, normally we will identify the research gaps from the online articles. Okay, please bear in mind, you should get the research gaps from the online existing articles, not from your brain, okay, not from your mind, not from your personal experience. That is not considered as research gaps, okay, because whatever that we include in the thesis writing or manuscript writing, it must be supported by relevant citation. So if you prepare the research gap based on your personal feeling, based on your personal experience, or based on your perception, then how are you going to prepare the citations in your work, right? So please identify the relevant research gaps from the existing online articles. Okay, so now back to the topic. How many gaps are there in research? Okay, basically we have 3 types of research gaps in social science studies. Number 1, literature or knowledge gap. Number 2, practical or managerial gap. And number 3, policy gap. Okay, so now we will look into the types of gaps one by one. Okay, now let's look at the first one, literature or knowledge gaps. Okay, how to identify the literature or knowledge gaps? Normally, okay, we will stick to this point, okay, to identify the literature or knowledge gaps. What has been discussed and what has not or should be discussed. Okay, so this refer to the application of the variable in previous research work. Yeah, so now let's look at one example, literature or knowledge gaps. Okay, maybe I give you 2 minutes, okay, to go through this slide, and then I will explain to you further. Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, done. Okay, so I hope you already go through the example one from your screen. Okay, so last time I was conducting a research in order to do, in order to examine the effectiveness of a national policy by that time. Okay, so by that time, there is a newly launched national policy regarding to solid waste. So I intended to examine the effectiveness of that particular policy. So of course, okay, I faced the difficulties to download the relevant articles, okay, to conduct the research. Okay, so you can see the keyword here, okay, limited and scarce in existing literature. So this is the example, okay, to tell you, okay, this particular sentence is actually reflecting the knowledge gaps in your work, okay? So if you consider the keyword limited or scarce, okay, in your work, right, actually you are telling the reader whereby this is one of the knowledge gaps or literature gaps in your work. Okay, so basically gaps means what is lacking. Okay, what is the shortage from different perspective. Okay, so for this one, example one, this is the shortage from the literature or knowledge perspective. Last time, okay, there are very few literature very few literature on solid waste segregation at source. Okay, so I have to borrow the I have to borrow the articles from any other similar research field in order to support my view. This is because the number of existing article is very less by that time. Okay, so I can take it as one of my contribution to the body of knowledge. Okay, so this is the example for literature or knowledge gaps. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, I also explain, okay, who will get the benefits from this research. Okay, the relevant policy makers. Okay, because the moment when I design the research, right, actually I cater on this ministry because I would like to know how relevant the policy is. Yeah. So if you have such planning in your mind, right, I believe it is very easy for you to prepare the knowledge gaps or literature gaps in your work. Yeah. Now let's look at the second one. Okay, the second one is called, okay, practical or managerial gaps. So what is a practical or managerial gaps? Okay, so now let's look at this one. What is practical now and what has not or should have been practiced? Okay, so for practical and managerial gaps, right, normally we will talk about the point based on the stakeholder. What stakeholder will enjoy the benefits, okay, from your research output? Okay, we call it as practical or managerial gaps. Okay, I have also one example for you. Okay, practical or managerial gaps. Okay, same things. Okay, I give you 2 minutes. Okay, please go through this example before I explain it to you. Okay, done. Okay, so after you finish reading this slide, right, I believe you already realized that last time I was doing a research regarding to environmental protection. Okay, so in terms of the practical and managerial gaps, I need to consider who are my stakeholders, who are going to enjoy the research benefits. Yeah, so from this slide, okay, so you can see that we need to identify, okay, the potential stakeholder based on our research topic. For example, what are the NGO, okay, which is relevant to your research topic, okay, and then Malaysian's government, Malaysian citizens, okay, uh, general public, okay, future generations. Okay, so these are the potential stakeholder, okay, from my previous research topic. Okay, so in your case, you need to consider who will be the potential stakeholder based on your research topic as well, in order to explain the practical and managerial gaps in your manuscript writing or thesis writing. Okay, so this is the second type of research gaps. We call it as practical or managerial gaps. And we have one more, okay, the final one. Okay, policy gaps. Okay, what are the existing policy and what should have been considered? Okay, so if you are doing a research regarding to the effectiveness of a national policy, okay, so I think this is one of the important topic that you should consider in your manuscript writing or thesis writing. Okay, but now I would like to show you the another one. Okay, theoretical gaps. Okay, uh, for a postgraduate studies, right? Especially a PhD students, I think you need to have more than one theory or model to support your framework in order to ensure that your conceptual framework is big enough to explain the research gaps, the problem statements, as well as the contribution to the body of knowledge. Okay, so in my previous research topic, I actually combine a few theories all together to construct my conceptual framework. And surprisingly, I realized that there is no any existing literature that has done the similar work as mine. Okay, so this will be my theoretical gaps by that time. Okay. So if you see the following sentence, okay, this variable has been introduced for the first time as mediating variable and a moderating variable in this particular scope of research in order to create a new, valid, and reliable framework for research. So these are the keywords to tell the reader whereby you are actually explaining the theoretical gaps in your manuscript writing or your thesis writing. Okay, so since this is your research, since this is your theoretical gaps, right? So you will take this current project, okay, as a platform to test the effectiveness of the proposed research framework, as well as to identify the significant correlations between the key variables by combining several theories and models in the research. Okay, so this is the logical flow, okay, to explain theoretical gaps in manuscript writing or thesis writing. Okay, so that's all for the types of research gaps in social science studies. Okay, so this is your job. Your job is fill up the gap. This is why you need to conduct a new research, because as I told you at the beginning of the sections, you need to use a new idea, okay, to conduct a new research in order to produce a new knowledge. Okay, so this is your job. okay, to fill up the old literature and the new literature, okay? You need to fill up the gap. So this can be considered as your contribution to the body of knowledge. Yeah. So I think that's all you should know about research gaps. Okay. And as I told you just now, okay, theory is very important. Theory or model are actually play a significant role in a social science research. Okay. And I also tell you just now, okay, your research framework should be able to get the support by theory. Okay, but we have two ways to construct the research framework. Number one, we construct the research framework in an inductive way, and the second method is we construct the research framework in a deductive way. So what does it mean? Okay, if you look at the green color rectangle, okay, inductive way, that means, okay, you actually conduct a research in order to propose a new theory at the end of your research work. Okay, so you use your observation, and then you will observe the patterns, okay, and then you will propose a tentative hypothesis, and at the end of the research process, you actually try to propose a new theory. Okay, so if you are conducting a research in this way, we call it as a inductive manner. Okay, however, if you conduct a research, okay, but your ultimate goal is you want to test the proposed framework, okay, or you want to test the effectiveness of the theory in your research scopes or your research area, okay. So that means you are actually conducting the research in a deductive way, which means you start the research process, okay, starting from identify the potential theory, okay, and then you will comes up some relevant hypothesis from the potential theory, and then you will do your observation, but the observation refers to the data collections lah. So you will do the data collections either in a qualitative manner or quantitative manner, okay? And then at the end of your data analysis process, your ultimate goal is to test the effectiveness, or you want to confirm whether the particular theory is actually relevant in your research field. Okay, so if you plan your research design in this way, that means you are actually conducting a deductive research. Okay, so in general, we have two ways to construct the framework. Either you construct the framework in an inductive way, or you construct your framework in a deductive way. Okay, so what is an inductive and what is a deductive manner? I believe, okay, this diagram may help you to understand more. Yeah. Okay, so it is nothing wrong if you conduct a research in this way or in this way, because both methods are acceptable in research methodology. Yeah. But I personally think that if you conduct a research in a deductive manner, that will be more easy. Okay, if you have no time to explore further, or you are running out of time, I personally think that if you conduct a research in deductive manner, it will be more effective and more practical. Yeah. So this slide explain the method that you can consider when you plan to construct your research framework. So once you already have your research framework, then we are going to prepare the literature review session. Okay. But before we proceed to the last segment, right, I would like to show this to you. The role of theory and model in a social science research. Okay, let's go through the point together. In the broader sense, theories are generalizations about the world. Okay, theory provides researcher directions and guide in research. This is why just now I told you, okay, you need to select a relevant or suitable theory or model before you construct your research framework. Because in social science research, theory will give you the direction. How are you going to prepare your research objective? How are you going to prepare the research hypothesis? So these things these things are actually derived from your research framework, and your research frameworks is actually derived from the potential theory and model. Yeah, so now you can see actually everything is linked among each other. Okay, so please make sure you do not skip any single steps in social science research. Otherwise, you will get trouble at the end of the research or during the data analysis process. Yeah. So from the way we conduct the hypothesis, right, uh, it will determine what kind of statistical analysis that we are going to use in chapter 4 or in the result and discussion session. Yeah, so everything relies on theory. Okay, if you are doing a social science research. Okay, so theory may help you to explain the interrelationship, okay, between IV and DV. Okay, and we may also use a solid or firm research framework, okay, to predict the output of the research topic or dependence variable, DV. Okay, and then theory also will provide the guidance, okay, in your research. Okay, as I told you in the previous slide, okay, theory may guide you, okay, to construct your research objective, your research question, and your research hypothesis, as well as the interrelationship among the survey variable, okay, in your thesis writing or your manuscript writing. Okay, so once you already have a solid and firm research framework, so now it is the time for you to prepare the literature review. Okay, basically, okay, under the literature review sessions, okay, we have two parts. The first part of the literature review refers to the explanations on your conceptual framework. Okay, which theory you use to construct the framework, okay, the general background of the theory, the applications of the theory in previous research work, okay, any theoretical gaps in your conceptual framework. This is considered as the first part of the literature review. The second part of the literature review refers to the applications of the survey variable or the interrelationship among the survey variable in the previous research work. So basically, these are the two parts under the literature review section or the chapter 2 in your thesis writing. Okay, so actually, what is literature review? Let's look at the captions here. Literature is about telling a story, kind of a chain story where each writer starts with a partial story created previously by others and explain on it. The existing literature is the story so far. So actually, literature reviews is all about telling a story. So your job is you need to design you need to arrange a nice storyline, okay, to explain to your potential reader or your examiner. Okay, so this is all about literature review. And I would like to remind you, okay, please make sure you download the materials from reliable journal database, okay, to ensure the quality of your literature review. Okay, if you look at the terms literature review, okay, literature refers to the reading material, okay, in your research project. Okay, so I know there are some overseas audience joining us now, okay, but I would like to give one example in the context of Malaysia, okay. In the context of Malaysia, the reading materials, okay, or the literatures refers to the the source of information, okay, and the source of information here refers to the mainstream channel, okay, of your information, okay. So in the context of Malaysia's, right, the mainstream information source includes national TV. The national TV here refers to TV1, TV2, and bernama only. Okay, TV3, TV9, TV Al Jazeera, 8TV, and TV7, these are not considered as mainstream information channel. Okay, so please do not use it. Okay, same goes to some online media. Okay, Malaysia Now, Malaysia Gazette, Selangor Kini, Malaysia Kini. These are not considered as mainstream channel as well, because these are the example of online media. Online media is not considered as mainstream information channel in Malaysia. Okay, and if you would like to get some reports, government reports, okay, please download the government report or the official statistic from the ministry official website. Okay, please do not simply get it from Google. Okay, maybe you have the high tendency to get an outdated information. So please always go back to the official social media, official government website, okay, to download the relevant annual report, okay, or the latest statistic, okay, from Department of Statistics Malaysia. Okay, and in terms of the reading materials, okay, make sure you get it from reliable, okay, or high reputations information channel. For example, Science Direct, Scopus, Web of Science, Tellus and Francis. Okay, so these are some examples of a reliable information source that you can consider when you prepare your literature review. Okay, so this is in the context of Malaysia. Okay, maybe in overseas perspective, you may consider the official information from your national government website, okay, or your national TV or food bank, World Bank, okay, CNN. Okay, so I believe these are some reliable international channel where you can get the source, okay, for your literature review or your thesis writing. Okay, so now we already explained what does it mean by literature. And what about review? The terms, okay, review refers to, okay, you are giving your own opinion. You are giving your perspective. You are giving your idea based on the mentioned scenario in your write-up. Okay. Based on my previous experience, right, I realized that most of the students were just reporting the previous research output. Authors A says that, author B mentioned that Author C explained that. Author D point out that. That's all. This is just reporting. I would say this is just reporting manner. You are not reviewing the literature. Okay, so how to achieve the element of the element of review is you are supposed to give your opinion. You are supposed to give your idea. You are supposed to give your own perspective based on the scenario or based on the previous results that you have mentioned in that particular paragraphs. Okay, so this is what we call as review. Okay, so now I hope you understand what is a literature review. Okay, and of course I will give you some example in the following slides. Okay, so why literature review is so important? Okay, so I already list out some point for you. Okay, literature review or literature metrics, okay, is very important. It is because you should understand, okay, the overview or the current trend of your chosen research topic. So how to prove to the reader or how to prove to the examiner where you actually understood about your research topic, they will go to your literature review section or your chapter 2. Okay, and this section is very important because you need to explain, okay, the research gaps in this section, and you need to give your idea, okay, in these sections as well. Okay, this is why literature review is so important. Okay, I personally think that you can give your own ideas in order to close that particular paragraph so that it will make your paragraph in a more complete manner. Okay, I will give you some example afterwards. Okay, so through the literature review, okay, we can also see that, okay, what are the problems existing behind the research topic right now? Okay, and does it work for us to continue the entire research journey? Okay, so we can get all this information from the literature review. And next point, to avoid reinventing the wheel. Okay, as I told you at the beginning of the workshop today, okay, you are not supposed to repeat whatever that has been done by the previous researcher. Okay, otherwise you will fail to explain your contribution to the body of knowledge as well as the research gaps in your project paper. Yeah, so it is important for us to come up with a systematic and a very good quality literature review. Okay, and next point, of course, to better understand your own research. Okay, and finally, to provide proof of scholarship, okay, to show that you know the literature and have the intellectual capacity to read it and criticize it constructively. Okay, so this is what I mean. Review. Okay, when you are reviewing certain situation, okay, you can give your opinion whether or not you agree the situation. Okay, if you disagree with the situation, it is okay to criticize it. Okay, with relevant material. Yeah, you are allowed to criticize certain situations, okay, in your work by providing relevant supporting evidence, okay, in your work. You're allowed to do that. Okay, so this is why literature review is very important. Okay, I know this session is boring, okay, but if you are able to produce a good quality of literature review, right, it may help you to publish one theoretical paper or one conceptual paper after you finish your PhD journey. Yeah, so I believe literature review may help you to do that. Okay, and of course, literature review is not about copy and paste. Okay, you are supposed to derive, okay, or identify the important point, okay, from the existing online articles, and then reorganize it, and then rephrase it, and then rearrange it according to logical thinking manner. Then only you put it in your thesis writing or manuscript, but not just copy paste. Okay, literature review is not about copy paste. Okay, and if you copy paste everything in your work, okay, please be careful with the Turnitin software. Yeah. Okay, so I will give you one example. Okay, afterwards. Okay, so these are some reminder, okay, when you are writing the literature review. Okay, number one, make sure the references are up to date. Okay, as I mentioned to you just now, okay, number one, make sure you get the material from reliable resources. Number two, make sure you put the priority to the paper published in the 5 recent year rather than 15 years, 20 years, or 30 years, okay? But it is different story if you are explaining the background or the evolutions of theory. That's all. Okay, beside the theory, history, or the applications of the theory, okay, you are supposed to use the 5 reasons published paper, okay, in your work. Okay, we are now in 2023, right? So 2023, okay, 5, and then we count backwards, okay? That means you are supposed to put the priority, okay, on 2019 until 2023 paper, okay, in your literature review. Okay, number 2, do not list or summarize the literature findings or result, okay? Do not reporting, okay, the previous result, okay? Your job is to close the research gap. Your job is to explain your contributions to the body of knowledge. Your job is to review, okay, the previous published material, okay? Review, okay? Reviews means give your ideas, give your opinions, give your suggestions, okay? Even give your criticisms based on certain scenario in that particular paragraphs. Okay. And finally, okay, you can use some suitable transition to link all the point together, okay, in your write-up. Okay, and when you are writing the literature review, right, make sure you know how to prepare the references, okay, or citation. As I told you at the beginning of the workshop today, okay, it is better for us to have enough citation, okay, to support most of the view that we have mentioned or explained in our work, okay? I think that is more important, yeah. Okay, so please make sure, okay, you accurately prepare the references and relevant citations, okay, to support the view in your work. Okay, so this is a bad example. Okay, maybe I give you 1 minute, okay, to go through this slide, and then I will tell you why this is a bad example. Done? Okay, as I told you just now, we have two parts under the literature review. Okay, I think this is the example for the second part of the literature review. Okay, so for the second part of literature review, you need to explain, okay, the interrelationship between the IV and DV. Okay, and you need to explain the applications of the theory, okay, in the previous research work. Okay, and you are supposed to give your opinion, okay, based on the scenario that you have explained, okay, in that particular paragraph, right? However, if you look at this slide, okay, first of all, this author mentioned, okay, what is job satisfaction and job stress, okay, and then this author has been found significant relationship, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And this author state that this study reveals that this theory, these authors shows that these authors emphasize that in this author's study, they found that that's all. You see, they are listing down or they are just reporting the previous research finding. This is not right. Okay, and as you can see from the screen, okay, most of the citation given in the write-up is too old, is too outdated. 1986, 1989, 1980s. We are now in 2023, so this is considered as old reference, very outdated material. So this is why this is not a good example for literature review. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some good example. Okay, maybe I give you 1 minute. Okay, please go through and then I will explain to you why I say this is a good example for literature review. Okay, done? Okay, so as I told you just now, okay, at the second part of the literature review, you are supposed to explain the interrelationship between IV and DV, as well as their applications in the previous research studies, right? So you can start it, you can start this session, okay, by explaining the conceptualizations of the variable. Okay, you can explain, okay, what is this theory all about? Okay, and then any general concept or general background of this variable, okay, at the beginning, okay, of the session. Okay, so as you can see from this screen, right? So this part is explaining the conceptualizations of the variable. Okay, or any general background or general concept of this variable. Okay. Okay. So after you finish explaining the conceptualizations of the studied variable, okay, then you can put a clear subtopic here, okay, in order to explain, okay, the interrelationship, okay, between the IV and DV, okay, in the previous work. Okay, maybe you can screenshot this example, okay, because we are behind time, okay, so please screenshot for your own reference. Done? Okay, next. Okay, please screenshot. Okay. Okay. I think this is the final one. Okay, please screenshot. Okay. Next. Yeah, I think this is the last paragraphs. Okay. So I assume all of you already screenshot, okay, for your own reference. Okay, now I will tell you briefly, okay, how are you going to explain the interrelationship between IV and DV? Okay, first and foremost, okay, I think the most easiest way to give reviewing is by comparing different kind of result together. Maybe you can collect 2 to 3 articles together, okay, and do the comparison in terms of their research output. Okay, so if you are managed to compare and contrast, okay, the previous research work in a few paragraphs, okay, it is also considered as reviewing. Okay, and I would like to show you one example. Okay, let's look at the second paragraph here. Okay, so you may start the paragraphs by compare and contrast, okay, different research work. Okay, and at the end of the paragraphs, okay, you can actually give your own opinion in order to conclude the entire paragraphs. So you can mention something like this. Accordingly, the present research predicts that a more favorable attitude of the household will lead to a higher intention to practice solid waste segregation at source in the 9th district of Selangor. Okay, so this is the way, okay, by giving your own opinion, okay, in order to close the paragraph, and at the same time, you can review the scenario mentioned in these paragraphs. Okay, so I think this is a better way, okay, to prepare a literature review. Okay, and at the same time, you can also mention, okay, to what extent does this variable has been applied in previous research area. Okay, for example, okay, this variable has been widely applied in conservational behavior, behavioral intention of electricity use and gas use, greenhouse visit intention, food waste separations intention, intention to reduce car usage, general pro-environmental behavior, as well as energy efficiency product purchase intention. Okay, so these are some interesting elements that examiner would like to see when they read your work. Okay, so it is very important for you to explain the previous applications, okay, of the study variable based on your research topic. Okay, so just now we already finished the second part of literature review. Now I would like to give you one example, okay, for the first part of literature review. Okay, the first part of the literature review regards to the theoretical perspective, right? The second part of the literature review regards to the survey variable perspective. Okay, so now, okay, I'm showing you the first part of literature review, okay, which is the explanation from the theoretical perspective. Okay, you may screenshot, okay, and then later I will explain to you. Okay, screenshot, 1, 2, 3. Okay, next. Okay, screenshot, 1, 2, 3. Okay, third page. Okay, screenshot, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think this is the final one. Okay, screenshot. 1, 2, 3. Okay. As I told you just now, for the first part of the literature review, okay, it regards to the theoretical perspective explanations, right? So you need to explain, okay? First of all, you need to explain what theory that you have chosen to construct your conceptual framework, okay, or research framework, okay? Then you need to explain, okay, some general background of the theory, the history of the theory, the evolutions of the theory. Are there any assumptions, okay, for you to use the theory, okay? And then are there any strengths and weaknesses, okay, for you to use the theory? And then are there any criticism by previous researchers in this theory? And finally, you may explain the previous application of the theory, okay, in the formal research work. So these are the elements, okay, examiner would like to see when they read your work, okay, if you are a postgraduate student. And I believe these are the elements a guest editor or reviewer would like to see if you are submitting your manuscript to a high index publisher. Okay, so these are the criteria, okay, for them to evaluate whether your literature review is up to certain level or not. Okay. So I hope you already screenshot it for your own reference, yeah. Okay. And finally, okay, you need to explain, okay, your research framework, okay, in the paper or in your write-up, okay. We call it as framework, okay, conceptual framework, or theoretical framework, or research framework, okay. So this is my PhD research framework, okay. So as you can see from this slide, okay, I have IV at the left-hand side, I have DV at the right-hand side, and then I have a mediating variable in the middle of independence variable and dependence variable, and I have one external variable here. Okay, we call it as moderating variable. So these are the 4 types of variable that a PhD student should have in their research framework. Okay, and you may use different types of line to indicate the applications of the theory, okay, in your research framework. Okay, and today I share this framework to you because this framework was newly accepted in a Web of Science paper last week. So I think this is a good example for everyone since this framework is accepted in a Web of Science paper. Yeah. So hopefully, okay, if you are taking your PhD, okay, I hope the workshop today may be useful to you. Yeah. Okay, so after you introduce your research framework, okay, of course, okay, you need to explain the research gaps, okay, in terms of the application, okay, of the theory, okay, as compared to the previous research activity, okay? And after you finish the literature reviews, right, you must know the way to prepare the relevant references, okay, to support your point of view. Okay, so if you do not know how to prepare correct references, okay, please Google this document. Okay, APN 7th edition formatting and style guide. okay, please download this document for your own reference. Okay, this document will explain to you how to prepare a correct references according to the latest APA format. Okay, and we have two types of referencing style. Okay, number one, we call it as in-text citation. Number two, we call it as reference, the references under the reference list. Okay, so if you do not know what is an in-text citation, okay, this is what I mean, okay, in-text citation. The bracket that you include in your write-up. Okay, this is what I mean as in-text citation. Okay, and this is one of my Web of Science paper last year. Okay, so if you are interested to read it, okay, you may screenshot and you may Google it later for your own reference. Okay, so this is the way we prepare the correct in-text citation. Yeah, and this is the as references example. Okay, under the APA 7th edition format. Okay. So now I hope you realize that actually we have two types of referencing style. Number one, in-text citation, this one. And number two, the references under the reference list, okay? Just like this one. Okay, and for your information, actually we have another three types of referencing style instead of APA format. Okay, we have Harvard, we have Chicago, we have MLA, but frankly speaking, APA referencing style is the most common use in most of the publisher. So I think it is very important for us to master the skill to prepare a correct references by using APA format. Okay. So this is a take-home message. Okay. For literature review. Okay. Number one, make sure, okay, it is recent material and comprehensive enough, okay, to let examiner or reader understand it, okay? And then you need to consider whether all references are well cited, okay? Have you critically analyzed or review the reading materials, okay? And as I told you just now, the most easiest way is compare and contrast, okay? And then followed by your personal opinion, your own perspective, or your suggestions or criticism based on that particular scenario in the paragraph. And then is the review well organized? Okay. Are you arranging your point in a logical thinking manner? Okay, we call it as well organized. Does the review conclude with a brief summary of the literature and highlight the research gaps or implications? Okay, so these are the important points that we have covered up in the workshop this afternoon. Okay, and I think we already come to the end. To Yeah, sorry. If you have any question, you may put your question in the chat box. Okay, I will try my best to answer your question. Okay, and yeah. Okay, and this is the QR code, okay, for you to jot down your attendance and to get the e-certificates. Okay, so you may scan the QR code, Okay, and jot down your attendance so that our secretariat will send the e-certificate to you afterwards. Okay, and do you have any question?
Hi, Dr. Cheng. I was just going to ask if the recording will be made available in Teams afterwards.
Yes, I already made the recording available to everyone.
Excellent, thanks. Does that include the PowerPoint? Will that be available as well, just for reference?
Thank you so much, Mr. Jonathan.
You're a star. Thanks very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, okay, let me check the chat box. Okay, so far I didn't see any question in the chat box, so I hope everyone learn something throughout the workshop this afternoon. Okay, and you may scan the QR code to receive the certificates for this workshop. Okay, and if you do not have any question, and so I think that's all for today, and I hope to see you in the upcoming research workshop. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and have a nice day, everyone. Okay, maybe we will close the recording session at 4:10 p.m. Okay, so you have 4 more minutes to scan the QR code to receive the e-certificates. Okay, once you already scan the e-certificate and fill up the particulars form, you may leave the room, no problem. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, you may leave after you scan a QR code, no problem. Okay, we will shut down this section by 4:10. Yeah, so after you already scan the QR code, you may leave the room.
I have already done it, Professor.
students